The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Hello.
I tried to keep it together and I smiled immediately, so I couldn't keep the bit going. Hi, everyone. It's One Word Night on the Phixated Podcast. Hence our intrepid host, Mr. Azalina, just giving us the beautiful one word. Hello to all of you out there. Hello to him. Hello to me. Hello, coming off of an Eagles draft, a Phillies road trip, all kinds of fun things to talk about as we get into this one, buddy. I give you permission to say more than one word until we get into the bit.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Phixated Podcast. It is awesome to be here. I'm your host, Mike Ezelina, and I'm joined, as he said, by the good brother Regz. Regzy Boo, it was a weekend. It was a week. It was Phillies in New York. It was the Eagles and Howie doing the thing, and then it was the Phillies at Wrigley. A lot to talk about, a lot to dig into, and we are going to use one word for a lot of the evening, but let's do this. One word to describe your weekend, since we're recording on Sunday.
Busy, not shockingly. 2 baseball games Saturday, 2 baseball games Sunday. A show to go to, kids' birthday parties in the morning, all kinds of stuff going on. It never stops at this point. When baseball season starts, there is nothing stopping the train. A few positive updates. The oldest one had a walk-off double in one of his games.
Oh, okay. Now
came up bottom of the 6, 2 outs. Runner on second. Smoked a double into the right center gap.
Yeah, you gotta love that.
So that was good. The middle guy had 2 big doubles today. Getting there.
That's awesome.
We're starting to need the bats to pick up in the Regensburg household a little bit. We need the bats to pick up a little bit.
It's not easy.
Maybe not unlike the Phillies. I need the bats to pick it up a little bit.
That's it.
How about
you? Relaxing.
Beautiful.
Relaxing. Yeah. Friday was interesting. It was I think we expected to do more on Friday and just decided not to. So we kind of just hung around here and that was it. And then Saturday, Andrea went to the blue-white game with her family and I stayed home and watched like 4 hours of the draft and then turned on the Phillies and waited for her to get back into town and grilled a dinner and we put on a movie and that was that. That was the end of that. So, super relaxing this weekend. I loved it.
If you ever have another one of those coming up, just call me on like the Thursday and then maybe you and I can just like flip-flop for the weekend. We'll let you come down. You can watch the baseball. I trust you to critique as I would. For how they can get better.
I don't know that they would listen. I don't know that they would listen to Uncle Azzy as much. Though.
They listen to anybody but me, it seems to be. I think they would trust you, actually, more than the looks that they give me and the eye rolls in particular from the oldest one. But yeah, just let me know the next time you got one of them coming up. Well, maybe we'll figure something out for a day.
I'll give you the old heads up on that.
Appreciate
you got it.
Thank you.
So we're gonna jump in here. We did a game about the draft last week, which was a lot of fun. We drafted positions, and the rules of the draft were pretty simple. For the round they were picked in, you got a point allotment. So the first round was 7 points, all the way down to the 7th round being 1 point. The points were given based on the position at which they were named when they were drafted. So that's how we went about it. That's how we scored it. So, Regz, you'll never believe this.
But
the final score was 17-17.
Of course it was.
So we'll go through the draft and in a little bit, player by player, and break it down. But it was 17-17. And when it got to the end and I knew the only thing that could happen was that you could tie me, I was like, yeah, but they're absolutely going to take they're going to take like, and I forget what my thought process was. I think I said running back. So I thought I was going to, win. And then they ended up taking a freaking edge rusher with the last pick. So, all right. So we're going to get to that. I'm going to give a one-word description for each pick that we can move off of. But I'll give the point allotments as we go so you can see how it broke down. Because it looked like it was going to be a runaway for your boy Azzy. And then it just wasn't. So before we do that, though, I would love to get a one-word description from you. Our first one-worder of the night, besides my greeting, for the entire draft. Like, if you were sort of grading Howie on a word, what would the word be?
That's interesting. I took this a different way. Instead of sort of grading it in my one word, I'm going to give my overall sentiment that I think all of us should take heed of after this draft. And my word is trust. This draft is very much about trusting the system that the Eagles have put in place and the coaches they now have. Look, this wasn't going to, I think we knew it going in, this wasn't going to be as flashy of a draft as the last few years. We talked about it. We discussed it. Not breaking news there. I think with the way it fell, I don't think it fell advantageously for the Eagles, quite honestly, particularly in the later rounds.
Right.
But if anybody has earned the benefit of the doubt, it's guys like Jeff Stoutland. It's guys like Vic Fangio. It's the coaches that they have brought in for different position groups, particularly on defense, which is where they spent most of their draft capital. So while I don't know if any of these draft picks will make an immediate huge impact like Jalen Carter, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, I do feel like if we trust this team enough and we trust the coaches enough that hopefully they did, like, this will lead to confident depth, confident backups at some positions. And who knows, maybe a starter or two. That's my overall sentiment on how the draft went.
So yeah, yesterday the word was underwhelming. Today, as I dig a little bit more into it, it's intriguing. And it wasn't underwhelming in like, oh, I'm pissed, this is how the weekend went. It was just, there's no star-studded name, right? Jahad Campbell, and then that was it. The more you pour into it, though, the more that you understand that just wasn't. And it's funny because I don't know how many times I said it on this very show, sitting in this very chair, looking at your very face. I've said over and over again, this is not a good draft. And, the Eagles seem to know that. And a lot of teams were not willing to give up picks early in the draft and on days 1 and 2 because they didn't want to lose players at that point in the draft, because those are going to be the players that you think are the ones, right? Not the guys in rounds 4 through 7. So they were making it very difficult for Howie to move up. Someone made a great point. I think it was Zach Berman, because I had texted you and said, oh, he's getting sandbagged.
Yeah.
And, I should know better. The draft, you can't sandbag in the draft because picks have value. So, like, if you don't want to come up for a guy, you don't come up for a guy. It's all about the picks and the value of the picks. That's it. If someone's asking for more than that, fine. But you saw it. The Falcons came back into the end of the first round and had to give up a first rounder. No thanks.
Yeah.
No thanks. And for who? A defensive end.
Yeah.
They did it for James Pierce Jr.
Yeah.
Who I think is fine, but like,
not worth
talk about trust. Yeah, right. So wild to me, but intriguing. And we're gonna get right into it here. I'm gonna give a one word for each guy. We'll talk a little bit about each guy, and then sort of score it as we go in terms of our score. Uh, Great. Or they did not stand put. They did not move back. They moved up. And man, I had so many people ask me, including my father-in-law today. And by today, I was so tired of people asking, why did they trade a fifth round pick for one spot? All right. First of all, they had 4 fifth-round picks. They're not making 4. And they ended up making more picks than they would have with the pick that they started with. So they would have made 8 picks if they stayed with everything. They made 10. God, don't question Howie Roseman. Who do you think you are, people? Anyway, it was very clear that someone was moving up to get Jahad Campbell. They don't make that move if they didn't feel like there were teams coming up to get Jahad Campbell. And they were making that deal with a guy they trust in Andy Reid. So there was a reason they did it, and it was because they really wanted Jahad Campbell. They were trying to get up to 22 for Jahad Campbell.
Yeah, right.
So my one word here is freak. His traits are unreal. Dude, he doesn't even look human. He looks like he was made in a lab. And I'm really excited because Howie was pretty poignant in saying, like, do not limit him to being a linebacker. Like, he is not, like, that is not all he is. Now they're gonna have to be very clear in what his role is, because he can't, like,
Right.
you can't expect him as a rookie to learn 2 different position groups.
Yeah.
Can Vic set him up to blitz from the edge, play the 5th down lineman in a 5-2? Absolutely he can. But if they want him to be a linebacker, he's gonna have to be a linebacker. If they want him to be an edge, which I don't think they do, he's gonna have to be an edge. So he was drafted a linebacker. That was Azzy's 7 points. But I've got freak on this guy, dude. He was recruited as an edge. He played off ball last year, sideline to sideline speed. Great tackler. Can blitz from depth. So, like, that's what Nakobe's good at.
Yeah.
I actually think he's better than Nakobe at it. So, very, 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 very intriguing prospect. And I'll be honest with you, this draft does, and the way we're going to look back on it, does sort of hinge on Jahad Campbell.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he obviously fell because of the injuries, but that doesn't seem to concern the Eagles. Doesn't concern me. It was an A+ for me. That spot, that pick, that guy, A+ for me there.
Yeah. Admittedly, I didn't know a lot about him. I hadn't heard his
study him.
name one bit to the Eagles, and I think when you talk about his sort of position, I think you clearly see what Vic values, and it's guys with this kind of athleticism and ability, like you said, to get sideline to sideline, to line up in different places and always show you one thing before the snap, and then once that ball is snapped, something else is happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think, in my opinion, I think he is more valuable at that linebacker spot and being able just kind of to move wherever Vic needs him to move. And we saw how effective that Bond move was when he would shift to like the right side of the line pre-snap, and how like disruptive he could be from there depending on what they were doing.
Right.
So I think this was a way to get, like you said, an athletic freak who's extremely fast, a unbelievable tackler. Like some of those stats that people were talking about with his tackling ability was like, whew. And for how much we know this team can go through stretches of not being able to tackle, having a guy like that is great. I think this was a little bit of a Nakobe kind of fail safe. Like unfortunately, we've seen Nakobe's ability to play really well. It was such a bummer for him to get hurt as severely as he did at the end of the season. He was playing phenomenally. Like, we were finally seeing what that guy could do. And it was so good. And I think everyone was so happy for him. And there's some guys, man, they just can't seem to avoid these things. And look, this guy has had a shoulder thing, maybe a knee thing. It is what it is. The Eagles seem to be pretty good in evaluating these type of injuries and, determining if a guy will be ready to play, has anything potential coming up, all those things. I just think getting guys like this, like, it can't possibly hurt your football team to have dudes who can run like this and fly around and have this kind of athleticism. It just can't be bad, especially when you pair it with a guy who finds, I think, teaching so important and takes pride in, hey, if you're willing to like work at this, we're going to get you right. We're going to teach you all the things that we need you to do. And I think it's a perfect place for a guy like this to come and start learning and getting better at some of those more instinctual things. We didn't know if Zach Bond could cover people or drop into coverage as a linebacker. And look what that guy did. So he's coming in to learn from a guy like that who's done the exact same thing that he's done, right? Go from an edge player to a linebacker in Vic Fangio's system now. And I think, like, just think about him, Bond, like Coop, all kind of just in this position to be anywhere all at once, all the time. Yeah. And that's like what Vic's defense is. It's the ability to show one thing and morph into another thing with a bunch of guys who can be competent at a bunch of different things. So this one's I hope, knock on wood, I hope the kid is able to stay healthy and be that just freak on the field. Yeah, it's exciting. It's great to have guys like this. Like, it's great to have guys like who are going to be this kid's going to be a blast to watch. He's just going to be really fun to watch when he's on the football field.
He was a top 10 player on a lot of boards, and injuries tend to scare teams off. It's sort of what happened with Nolan Smith. Look at what Nolan Smith was able to do, in just his second year. So, going to pick 64. This one for me, I'm gonna the word I'm gonna use is microscope. And the reason for that is because this is the pick I think everybody's going to be really watching. This is where it's evident. I mean, it could not be more clear that Vic Fangio gets his guy.
Yeah.
At any point. He controls that defense. This to me screamed Vic Fangio. He loves this type of safety. Regz, I talked about him in my video that I posted on day 2. I talked about Andrew Makuba. I said that he was a guy to keep an eye on. He was a guy to keep an eye on at the end of the 3rd round. And they went for him in the 2nd. The reason why I say microscope is because they started the run on safeties.
Mm-hmm.
They're treating him as the 3rd best safety in the class.
Yeah.
I like Watson better. Makuba's a fine player. He's very CJ like. He's very much that style of player. He's a ball hawk, a good tackler in the run game. He's not afraid to play physical up at the line of scrimmage. He flies around, very Chauncey-like. He's like pretty much a 4-year starter. He started 3 years at Clemson and a year at Texas, so he's been on winning programs. I wasn't crazy about. I like the player, Regz. I didn't love the pick.
Yeah,
is at the spot it was at.
Sure.
I like the player. I really do. I still think they need a fail-safe veteran safety to come in. I'm really still hoping that happens because I don't love I just and look, again, you talked about it, trust. I'm already, showing my distrust. I'm struggling with this kid being
Yeah.
the starting safety only because of my own research,
Yeah,
which could be
sure.
so totally wrong. For me, the ceiling is Chauncey. The floor is Avante, and not old Avante. I'm talking like early Avante, which is still a fine floor. But we need a safety. We need a safety.
Yeah.
So I'm this one was a B for me. I'm not down on it entirely. It's more so like we're taking a bet on the kid
Yeah.
who was sort of looked at as, the fifth best safety on a lot of boards. But again, Vic is Vic, right?
Yeah. This one, I think, because they only made 2 picks in the first 2 days, this one is the one that requires the most trust.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, all we civilians can go off of is all the other information that's out there. And when you have guys that, you tend to trust, and you see that on a lot of these boards, he was safety 5, maybe, or, he was not
4 or 5. 4 or
right.
5 in those.
Sure.
Yep.
But he wasn't certainly the third, like a consensus. And he's not the biggest guy. He sort of has just had the one really productive year. Obviously at Texas, they had a fantastic defense. And he was very good in it, taking nothing away from the kid. He played very well. But it's going to be very interesting. Microscope is the perfect word for this because of what happened with the rest of the safeties that went after. This is going to be one of those picks where, regardless of, it's not this kid's fault, but this is just what's going to happen. He is going to be compared to all those other safeties that went after him. And it's going to be up to the Eagles and this kid to prove everybody wrong. We don't know if that'll happen or not. But if you say, like you said, you clearly made the decision that this was your guy. You had your pick of him. You didn't get the top 2 safeties. It just didn't fall your way in that regard. You had your pick of the litter of 3 through 7 on most people's boards, right? Safety 3 through 7. You had your pick. You have made your declaration to the world that this was our guy. Will it work out? Who knows? It might.
Yep.
It very well might.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't,
we're clearly rooting for the kid.
Absolutely, of course. None of this is to say that we don't want the absolute top of the ceiling for this kid.
Yep.
But look, it's just going to be one of those things where he is going to be judged by everyone else, right? By national media, everyone else, on how he compares to the rest of those guys for the next 5 years, right? At least.
Yep. Yeah.
And
4. Yeah.
Yeah. And that just is what it is.
Yep. So we'll see. Andrew Makuba, you got the 6 points there. So we were locked at 7-6. And then it was time for pick 96. The Eagles traded out of pick 96. And this is where it got a little odd. It might be one of the first times where I feel like Howie misread the board a little bit. He didn't do as great of a job navigating it in this draft as in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But he traded it to Atlanta for 101 and a 2026 fifth. And my thing about that was Howie, you don't need any more 2026 picks. Why are we taking another 2026 pick? Just stay at 96 and make the pick, right?
Yeah.
Instead of moving back 5 spots. And I think they thought they would be able to get Charles Grant there, the offensive lineman, and he went at 99. He went 3 picks after they picked.
Yeah.
I think they thought he would get to 101. And unfortunately he didn't. So they moved out of 101. They took 101 and 134. and traded it to Denver for 130. So they added a 4th-round pick, and 191 in the 6th. What's funny about that is they made neither of those picks. They traded both of those picks.
Right.
So, I don't see 191. Did they not take that pick? They must not have. I don't see it here. I must have missed it along the way somewhere on another trade somewhere somehow. I don't know. Oh, I bet you it went to the Jets. That's what it was. They traded it to the Jets. So yeah, they made those 2 trades. So they didn't make another pick on Friday night, which was a little frustrating. I fell asleep waiting for that. Regz and I were going to record a response to the first 3 picks, but I fell asleep waiting. Thanks, Howie. So then Saturday rolled around and they got to 111, and I was like, here, trade again. They did not, Regz. They did not. They took Ty Robinson, defensive tackle from Nebraska. So my one word here kind of is stolen from, I think I texted it to you. I think it was his head coach. Did I text you what his head coach said? I don't know if I did.
Did you?
No, I didn't. I was looking back for it. And I didn't. I must have texted it to somebody else.
I think ZB had it, right? Or who had it?
Yeah, I believe he did. But it was a really funny, like, sort of quote about this kid, because I didn't know much about him. These guys are sort of guys at this point that I didn't really do a lot of like research on some of these guys.
Well, I think
what I'm saying?
When we talk about sort of how the picks ended up and what happened with trading back, I think it's very fair to say, look, they thought some guys were going to be there, and then when they weren't, they were just out. Like they just bailed on the picks.
Yeah, they weren't willing to hang around.
And they traded back to some places where their guy got taken 4, 5, 6 spots ahead of it.
Yeah.
And it just didn't seem to want to fall their way with some of those. And I think that's why we're running into a lot of guys that we were just like, oh, that's interesting, because all the guys that we thought they would take kept falling right before they were about to pick. And that seemed to be like the sort of theme of this draft, is that these guys that maybe some people said would be around at these certain places, just none of it worked out. None of those sort of gambles, as you can call them, worked out.
Yeah. In this one, especially.
Yeah.
It was very odd. So Ty Robinson, Matt Rule, the head coach in Nebraska, described him as a freaking warrior. So that's my one word for him. And rewatching some of the film, that's exactly what he is. A lot of people are upset that they took older prospects in this draft. They took athletes. Like this guy was like out of over 1,000 defensive tackles rated on that like raw athletic score. He was like 87th, Regz.
Yeah.
He's a monster. He is a large human. And a lot of what the Eagles are doing with these picks yesterday is looking at athletes that can be coached in football skills. Not dudes who come with traits, but are tapped out athletically. Like, this is a guy whose athletic ability is off the freaking charts. So now he's got to refine his skills as a football player. Like, Mora Jama was a 7th round pick, but his raw athletic score was like a 9.1.
Yeah.
They took him in the 7th round, and look at him now. A guy like Jaden Carter has both. Like, he's got the freak athlete part of him, but he's also just got the football traits and skill set.
Yeah.
So the Eagles took guys with the athlete part. And not that they look, I think I need to be clear for people who are like, well, they played college football. I know. But like, it's that jump to the NFL. There's a reason why some guys get there and you're like, wow, they're not as good as I thought they were.
Yeah.
And this goes back to your trust. Clint Hurt was able to turn a lot of these defensive line. Like, look at the difference in Jalix Hunt. Wasn't even on the field at the beginning of the year. Was getting important Super Bowl snaps. Like
a
that's
lot of
1 year for 1 year for a kid who didn't even play the position. Now you're taking a guy who was dominant his senior year with that kind of athletic ability and handing him to Clint Hurt. That's what they did. They just took guys with athletic traits off the charts and said, here you go to the best coaching staff in football, or one of the best coaching staffs in football.
Mm-hmm.
So I like this. I like this pick. I gave this pick a B+. I think this kid lined up in one-on-one situations next to Jalen Carter is going to be a nightmare. He's so big and he's such a free. He gets off the ball so fast.
Yeah.
Like Jalen Carter's going to feast on his double teams, and then Ty Robinson's going to come in and be a nightmare in one-on-ones.
Yeah. I
So
think
he's probably going to be more rotational than anything.
Yes. Yes. I think that's exactly right. And I think, again, to what we talked about this draft was going to be, sure, were you hoping to maybe hit on a few more guys that had that sort of like quote unquote starter potential? Yes. But I think it's really turned out to be, can you make these guys serviceable depth pieces in some important areas? Like D-line is still an important area. D-tackle is still an important depth area. Corner, right, again, is another important depth area. Linebacker, despite the Eagles' past, sort of proclivities for a linebacker, it's important to Vic Fangio. Like, it's important that he's got guys he can get on the field. So that's just kind of, that's where we're at. And again, we have to hope that this coaching staff, they don't need to, and I think that's also the thing, they don't need to make these guys frontline starters. That's not what we're looking for.
No.
Is that great if that happens? Of course it is. You always want to try and hit that, but a lot of these guys, you're just looking to make valuable depth pieces that can be rotational guys, can step in if someone gets hurt. Like, it's freaking football, man. People are going to get hurt. Can you have enough guys on your team that can step in and you can still win football games?
Howie said today or yesterday after the draft that they do look at 4 through 7 and say, let's find 1 or 2 starters of this group. Like, let's draft guys that we think we can develop into starters. A good draft, you're getting 2 starters. A great draft, you're getting 3.
Yeah.
And the Eagles have gotten pretty lucky over the last few years, and they've really nailed it.
Yeah.
This one might be tough. It might be tough. I don't know.
Just think about what they've done the past 2 years. They found 4 starters in 4 picks.
Yeah.
In their top 4 picks.
Yeah.
That's an insane hit rate. Like,
which makes this draft a little bit more, like, we'll give it more grace because they don't need it right now.
Yeah.
They could use a draft and say, let's just take dart throws for 4 rounds.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. And we'll see. They traded 130 to the Jets with 191 for 145 and 207. 145 came around. It was Mac Williams, corner from UCF. This is a kid that fits like that nickel back, but also special teams, had some punt return experience. He's fast. He's smart. A lot of people had him higher on their board than where he was taken.
Yeah.
If he's sort of Avante in this way, like 4th sort of corner slot guy. If they want to move, if he does really well and they want to try Cooper outside, they can. I don't think they will, but that's this pick, and it's fine. Again, people like him. I read a lot of stuff that people are like, oh, it just didn't get talked about on the live draft, and it's when I decided to turn off ESPN because Shador was taken right.
Yeah.
So, they talked about Shador for the next half an hour, and so for me with Mac McWilliams, I use Avante. Like that's the one word for him. I think that's what it is. That's what they drafted him for. So we'll see. I don't have a ton on him
No.
other than what I read. People really like him.
Yeah, I think that seems to be the comp that a lot of people are making is the Avante Maddox sort of replacement.
Yeah. 161 was Smile Mondon Jr., the linebacker. They had to make the Georgia pick, and he happened to be the one. Regz, the comp here is Oren Burks.
Mm-hmm.
They just took a younger version of Burks. He does all the same things. He can fly. Again, a lot of people actually had him higher. I read some guy who had both Mac McWilliams and Smile Mondon Jr. in like their top 50. He was like, I had them both in my top 50. But again, 2 raw athletic scores that off the charts. And that's what the Eagles are seeming to do. But this, again, to me, if he's a special team starter, good.
Yeah.
You need those guys. You need them.
Yeah.
So they got their Georgia plate right there with Smile.
Yeah.
Anything to add?
No. You're should be a good special teamer again. Backup linebacker. We can move on.
Mm-hmm. This is where it got fun, Regz. These last 5 picks. So they traded 165 for 181 and 209. And then they made every pick the rest of the way. 168, Drew Kendall, center from Boston College. Honestly, again, pretty athletic, not at nothing super special, but smart. Can get you. I think what I heard Fran Duffy say was he's going to get you through a start or two if you need him, but ultimately not a long-term guy, but really smart and really good football. So I liked it. I don't know if he's going to make the team. I think out of all these guys, I think he and Mac McWilliams are the 2 that I look at. I'm like, they might not get there.
Yeah.
They might not get there.
Yeah.
All right. Then there was Kyle McCord. He's another one that might not get there. Kyle McCord, quarterback from Syracuse, formerly Ohio State. Wasn't very good at Ohio State. Went to Syracuse and just blew the roof off the joint. Guy was unreal at Syracuse this year. I like Kyle McCord. I think it's a good situation for him. He's from the area. Went to St. Joe's Prep. So it's another school. It feels like they got to take someone from every year. Look, he might not see the field ever.
Yeah.
But the Eagles do like to make this type of a pick every other year.
Mm-hmm.
They did it with Tanner McKee. Someone, a few people texted me yesterday, well, McCord's not even that good. I was like, well, did you ever hear of McKee before he became an Eagle?
Yeah.
You ever hear of Tanner McKee? He was terrible. But if you got tools, the Eagles like to work with you. And look at Tanner McKee. They were getting calls about Tanner McKee, I'm certain.
After 2, a game and a half.
Right? What are we doing here? It's not a dumb pick when you have a dearth of picks. It's fine. All right, these last 3. These are the 3, man. Miles Hinton, offensive lineman from Michigan. This dude is a monster.
Yeah.
This guy is huge. Huge. Plays both tackle positions at Michigan. Again, one of those athletes that kind of jumps off the page at you. I'm not sure why he fell. I really don't know much about him other than these were all right, Jeff, who do you want picks?
Yeah, right.
What are the projects that you want to try? Someone actually it was Fran who was reading something that a scout told him. And the scout was like, Miles Hinton could be like a step from Canton if he gave a shit. Or no, Zach said it. Zach was reading it and they were like, Zach, you can't say that live on the air. He goes, no, it was a quote. And they were talking about Hinton and how like this kid is all the traits, but like we'll see if he's going to work to reach it.
Mhm.
Not the place that you're going to be able to slack with Lane Johnson.
Yeah, right.
And Jordan Mailata and Landon Dickerson and Jeff Stoutland, right? So fun pick. Regz, my favorite pick in the draft was Cameron Williams.
There you go.
I love this pick, man. Here's why. This kid, if he had gone back to school, would be on all the watch lists for not only like offensive lineman of the year, but for like top 5, top 10 pick in next year's draft. He'd be on all the watch lists. Olu Fashanu was the same way at Penn State. He chose to go back, and the Jets took him in the top 10 a few years ago. Cameron Williams decided to come out. If there's any NFL team right now to get drafted by so that you can continue to develop into that sort of talent, it's Stoutland University and learning from Lane Johnson. He's a right tackle. All of the traits are there. This kid has all of the ability. If he's coachable, this could be a Jordan Mailata thing, where in 3 years, when Lane Johnson steps away, Cam Williams steps in. I loved this pick. Loved it. From a dart throw perspective, this is my absolute favorite pick of day 3. By far. By far.
Yeah,
I don't count it with the Campbell Mukuba pick.
Yeah.
That doesn't count to me. But this, out of the entire day, this is the one.
Yeah, I think it's very simple. No one has earned our trust more than Jeff Stoutland.
Right.
No one. I think, honestly, at this point, if someone comes in and doesn't decide, and doesn't turn out to be good after they've been with Jeff Stoutland, I think it's on that player. I think Jeff Stoutland has shown the ability to, hey, if you're ready to work and buy into this, I will make you live up to your potential.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. Again, if you're talking Fred Johnson, his potential is a swing tackle, a backup swing tackle. That's Fred Johnson's.
Got good money.
That's what I mean.
Yep.
That's Fred Johnson's ceiling.
Yep.
Mekhi Becton, a unbelievable talent with a crazy physical gifts. He just made a lot of money after being a disaster in New York. A disaster. Mm-hmm. What were those guys willing to do? They were willing to just buy in and work their tails off.
Yeah.
And if guys can do that, I don't know how you could ever leave this organization after learning from that guy and be like, nope, it was definitely him. I just couldn't do it with that guy. Just couldn't do it. Everyone would look at you you got 5 heads. Nope. Yep. So this one, it'll be very interesting. It'll be exciting. It's like you said, if he's willing, there's no one else in the league you would want to teach you how to be really good at your job than this guy.
Absolutely. So just so you know, going into the Kendall pick, I was winning 17-9.
Okay.
Or 17-6. I was winning 17-6. Then they took Kendall. That was 3 points for you. McCord, the quarterback, 2 points for you. Hinton, offensive line, 2 points. Williams, offensive line, 2 points. We go into the last pick at 17-15. And all I'm thinking is, well, they're going to take a running back. They're absolutely taking a running back. And they took Antoine Powell-Ryland, the edge from Virginia Tech. And I was like, you SOB, you tied me. You came all the way back and tied me. And so this guy led college football in sacks the last 2 years. He had 25.5 sacks, 16 of them this year. Now, his comp is Bryce Huff. So buckle in for that.
Yeah, tough.
He is a pure pass rusher. This dude can't defend the run to save his freaking life.
Yeah.
But from if you're just gonna put him on the field and let him go after the quarterback, he did it at a high level. So I don't know, man. I watched some highlights of him. His bend is wild and he's fast.
Yeah.
So could be a fun project. We'll see.
If nothing else, he's cheaper than Bryce Huff.
Yeah, right. He'll probably play as much. Dart throw.
Yeah.
Dart throw. So overall, man, this draft to me, I stopped grading on one word. You could go down the list here. Safe with Kendall. McCord is a we'll see type of pick. The hint and pick monster. Williams favorite. Antoine Powell Ryland. Oh baby. So baby, that dude can go get it. So we'll see, man. I like the draft as a whole. It's a solid A-, B+ for me, just based on where they picked and value. Next year is so interesting. They have 12 picks. And I real quickly just want to roll through it, then we'll jump over to the Phils. They have their own first, their own second, their own third. The Jets third. The comp third for Milton Williams. Their own fourth. Comp fourth for Josh Sweat. Their own fifth. Houston's fifth. Atlanta's fifth. A comp fifth for Becton. And then their own seventh. You know how he says that the offseason's not over until the kickoff?
Mm-hmm.
I'd expect a few of these to be gone.
Yeah.
Before the year starts.
Yeah.
There's no way. 10 picks is a lot. 12 is 12. Now look, if they want to get certain offensive positions next year, hey, we really need to re-up receiver.
Yeah.
Package some of these and move up to get Ryan Williams from Bama.
Yeah.
Maybe you hold on. But they do have ammo if they want it.
Mm-hmm.
Great weekend, Regz. I loved it.
Yeah, I think
Phil's time.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, go ahead.
I agree. I just think it's like we talked about a few pods ago. Look at what they did the past few drafts and look at what it led to. This was never going to be that again. It just wasn't going to be that again. So you hope, you trust their coaching, their ability to get these guys to, play at the best of their ability. And that's where we move on. You won the Super Bowl, guys. This is just what comes after that. It's all good.
Yeah. Picking at 32 is a blessing and a curse.
That's right.
That's all. That's all it is. All right. Phil's time. Insane game tonight.
Oh my God.
Insane. This team went on the road, shriveled in New York, continued to shrivel at the start of the Chicago series. But then, the last 2 days, come out and win a series against who I believe is honestly a better team than the Mets and one of the better teams in the National League. They took the series on the road from the Cubs.
Mm-hmm.
An offense that's just scoring at will. But over the last 2 days, the Phillies kind of held them at bay. Even in that first game, they held them at bay. The pitching was fine in this series. So we're going to continue the one-word trend. And we're going to kind of go through the road trip using certain players and describing them in one word. I'm going to give Regz 3. He's going to give me. I'm going to give him the first one. And we'll kind of talk. Regz will give us the one word, and then we'll talk about the player and what this road trip was. So, Regz, I'm going to let you go right out the gate here. Bryce Harper. I don't know if you're muted or if
was I?
No, I didn't hear it though. I knew what you did, but I didn't hear it.
It was a fart noise.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, I saw it.
That's my one word for Bryce Harper. Christ on sale.
it was a fart noise.
It just,
Oh my
I
gosh.
can't. There are times I know I get frustrated with other guys. Like, I swear to God, I might throw something at Johan Rojas when I see him at my next baseball game. Because he's just like, he's incompetent. But again, the expectations for him are not as high. Bryce Harper has like been in the media, given all these quotes about like, oh, we got to play for the name on the front. You know, we got to turn into the team we are, blah, 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 blah. And you shriveled in New York. And yes, you had the one hit yesterday, right? The double that kind of broke it open.
Mhm.
Finally, you hit a breaking ball, a hanging breaking ball. You've gotten like 11 of them in the past however long. You finally hit one. And then the team wins despite you going 0 for 5 tonight. And look, I know Bryce will do his thing. He will turn it around as he always does. But it's just when you combine it with the quotes and like him being this and that and talking about this and that, and you're just like, dude, you don't lead any other way than by example. From what we can tell, we are not in the locker room, right? We don't know.
He's not closing any doors.
We don't know. No. I don't mean that. I just mean we don't know what conversations he has with people. We don't know who he talks to. I agree. He's not, I'm going to close the door and like scream at people and throw shit. We know he's not that guy. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about we don't know the conversation he has with people, who he might help in the cage one night, whatever. I know zero about that. But your public perception is you are the guy who leads by example with your play and your effort on the field. And this was a road trip from Bryce Harper. Just an absolute tank job by your best player. And he like looks supremely uninterested in going up there and like battling. He's just swinging at every loop-de-doop curveball that gets thrown. And these hanging change-ups. He's just like, oh my God, man. Will you just barrel something up? Please. I'm begging you. This road trip was fart noise for Bryce Harper.
I mean, look, I'll allow the two words be.
Thank you.
Yeah. And look, man, I agree. I've it was hard to like the guy on this road trip. The body language was bad.
Everything.
The facial expression. I did push back on you a little bit tonight when that left 72 and then drop it 92 on him. Like, that's got to be 20-mile-an-hour difference is just insane. That's insane. But for the most part, he wasn't good, and he did shrivel. I said it after the Mets series, how frustrating it was to watch Francisco Lindor do what he did and Pete Alonso do what he did. Meanwhile, Bryce Harper had one hit the whole series.
Yep.
And you can't call yourself the showman,
right, if
you're not showing up.
Yep.
You can't. And you're right. Bryce is going to do his thing, but right now it was hard to like him on this road trip. It was really hard, and I this isn't going to come up with my guys, I don't think, but this team, specifically talking about the Mets, doesn't have the guy that hates the Mets. Like during the run from 07 Jimmy Rollins hated the Mets, and he said it out loud. Chase Utley hates the Mets, still does to this day, still says it out loud. Pat Burrell hated the Mets.
Yep.
Jason Worth hates the Mets, still talks.
Still, yeah.
Makes fun of him to this day. Says if he lived in New York, the choice isn't hard. You're a Yankee fan. Like, This team they don't have that. And look, I'll even go back semi-generational because it's not even that far. Rhys Hoskins hated the Mets.
Yeah. Yep.
He
And
hated
still
the
does.
Mets and still does. It's lost on this team. And I do believe that some of their struggle going there.
Yeah.
That the Mets just own them.
Mhm.
And someone's got to step up and hate them, and I need it to be Bryce Harper. This team goes as Bryce Harper goes. So I'm with you, man. Fart noise.
Yep. That's
All
it.
right, my turn.
Trey Turner, if you please.
I mean, we could go on, man. It's infuriating, exasperating, exhausting.
What is the
You
one
just-
word though?
I mean, I'll say infuriating.
Yeah.
I will.
Fair.
I'll say infuriating. They're all synonyms. We could throw them all. I want to like Trey so much. I so badly want to like Trey. But he makes it so hard. It is unbelievable how this guy hit 300 with his eyes closed for like 10 years in 2 other organizations. But he struggles to hit above 250 here. And I've given him so many, like I've gotten on in front of this very microphone and defended him but I've had it up to here with the bats. I've had it up to here with the defense. Like and it's not even like the physical errors all the time. It's the mental shit that he does. Just on Friday. Let me just rewind to Friday. Kyle Tucker's up. Right? Kyle Tucker's up with 1 out and a runner on second. Or a runner on first. I don't know. The wind is blowing like crazy at Rick. In from left field. It's no secret. You're all wearing hoodies. Kyle Tucker hits a lazy fly ball. Trey Turner stands on the infield dirt. Lazy fly ball lands in front of Max Kepler because it was blowing so heavily in toward the infield. If Trey is checked in at all, that's an out. 2, 3, 4 pitches later, Kyle Tucker steals second because the runner on second had advanced to third on the drop. JT has Tucker thrown out by 1.5 feet. Trey Turner sweeps a tag instead of putting his glove in front of the bag. He gave Kyle Tucker 2 outs. It is maddening that this is a $300 million shortstop. So for those that don't know, Taijuan Walker threw 40 pitches now because of that. 40 pitches. He would have been out of it, but he had to throw 40 pitches. He battled, only gave up 1 run. Had to leave the game in the after the third. Yesterday, Jesus Luzardo is cruising. Has a no-hitter through 5 2 or
4 2/3.
4 2/3. Lazy ground ball to Trey Turner. Off the heel of his glove. Next pitch. No hitter gone. Line drive base hit. 19 pitches later in 2 runs. Jesus Luzardo can no longer get through the 6th inning. He's going to give you 6. But was on track to get through 7 easily.
Yeah.
And against the Cubs, you really don't want to give them life because they hit.
Right.
They come from behind all the time. Thank God the offense, now I will give Trey credit. He got a hit that scored a run right after that. So he drove in a run right after that. We'll give him credit that he did. My struggle, Regz, and I'll even go back to the Mets series. Bryson Stott pulls you within 1 run against Edwin Diaz in game 1 of that. Trey Turner comes up right after that and swings at 3 shitty pitches. and strikes out for the second out of the inning. Bryce Harper followed with another strikeout. But like, can we have a clue? Can we have a clue there? Just any clue.
Yeah.
Any semblance of a clue. I watch Francisco Lindor play, a $300 million shortstop, and then I watch our $300 million shortstop. They are not in the same stratosphere.
I mean,
they're not in the same stratosphere. We're paying a slap hitter who can't field and is hitting 250, $300 million.
My thing is the general attitude. Like Lindor grounded out for the last out of the ninth and was smiling ear to ear and like laughing with Alvarado. And our guy looks, I don't know what's happened. I don't know what's happened to Trey Turner. I've gone back and listened to like our podcast, High Hopes, when we got Trey Turner and all the things we talked about, and that guy hasn't shown up. Like, I don't know what the problem is. Like, what? You had pressure in LA. You had pressure. Like, you won a championship in Washington. Like,
not $300 million pressure.
But is that what it is? Like, do you think that's what it is?
I really, truly believe that.
God, like,
I do believe it.
Then F you, Trey Turner. Like, because
I believe it. I believe that it is, Mark DeRosa talked about it on the Phillies show. These contracts can really mess with, he's like, they're humans too. And look, we can say up and down, left and right, and we can criticize, but they are. And they feel pressure and anxiety and emotions. Like, we were having this conversation about Nick Castellanos for 2 years.
Yeah.
And Nick is a totally different player for the second half of last year and this year than he was the first 2 years. And he says it outright that a lot of it for him was just the pressure of and the new city and all of it. So I'm pissed at Trey Turner. I am. I'm done. I'm done. I've tagged out. I will cheer for the guy, and I hope he can figure out a way to win us all back. But I cannot sit and watch right now. And I do think that's a lot of this team. They're just not fun to watch. They're not likable.
Yeah.
And it's really odd that a team that we like fell in love with 2 years ago has forced us to hate them so quickly.
Yeah, it's
hate a strong word, but it's forced us to hate watching them so quickly.
It's very odd. It's very odd.
So weird. But Trey and Bryce, are sort of at the top of it. Body language and stuff. It's hard. It's hard to watch. It really is.
I keep thinking back. I've literally gone back and listened to those podcasts.
Yeah.
And like everyone knows who the player Trey Turner is. And I can't believe that this is the guy we are getting right now.
Yeah,
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
This is so far away from the guy we talked about.
Yeah.
In that podcast.
Yeah.
It's unreal. And God, do I hope something clicks. Like, I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know what that magical threshold is that is going to get him the frick over this, but like, it better be quick because like this guy is not who we signed up for.
No. Well, and maybe he'll have the Nick turnaround. We'll see.
Maybe. We can only hope.
All right. Your next guy, Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah. Talk about another guy.
One word.
I'm going to steal your word. Lost.
Mm.
I know this. Everyone's talking about this whole 33 game on base streak and all this stuff. Cool. Again, another guy who got one hit yesterday. And I don't know if that's supposed to make me feel better about the last 7 or 8 games. But everything is just, okay, let's stare at all the good fastballs down the middle of the zone and not swing at them. And then we'll swing at all the bad pitches and either strike out or hit balls that are the size of like a skyscraper into the infield. There's no opposite field with him right now. There's no, I don't know. There's no anything. He's very much in that Bryce world right now where he just seems crisscrossed. I'm going to swing at all these tough breaking balls, and then when guys throw me fastballs, I'm going to get blown away by 91, 92, or I'm just going to stare at them and really cross my fingers that they're not in the strike zone because I don't seem to have a clue where they're going. And like, yes, I have never disagreed with the Bryce Schwarber thing. I think it's great. I think to have a pitcher think about Kyle Schwarber after Bryce Harper is exactly what you want a pitcher to be worried about. But for the past 8 or 9 games, why would you be concerned? Why would you be worried about it? Just throw him all the junk you got and then blow a fastball by him. Doesn't matter if you throw 89 miles an hour. You're going to blow it by him right now. Then they're just going to poof it up to somebody in the infield. Like, just get your damn approach back, man. Like, figure out how to hit some balls hard instead of just skying balls into the infield. And it's not even like it's on hard stuff. Like, they're not, yes, they're getting blown away by guys who can throw 98, but like, they're up there getting blown by at 91. And we're watching Aaron Nola for the past 6 games throw 91 and get like hit the hell because guys were like, thank God he's throwing so slow. Like, this is great. And our 3 and 4 guys are just like, nope, I'm just going to poof that up or just miss it entirely. Just get it together, man. Please.
This is Kyle Schwarber. Like, this is the Kyle Schwarber experience.
I know.
April and May are just not good. And then June Schwarber rolls around and everybody forgets. He actually got off to an unbelievable start.
I mean, against lefties
and
at
now
least.
we're coming back. Oh yeah, his reverse splits are crazy.
He
can't hit righties to save his life. But I think for me in that Mets series, it was the 5 for 40.
Yeah, it's
from Bryce, Trey, Kyle, and Nick. And for me, like, I had a hard time getting on Nick because, like, for me, Nick's allowed, you're allowed to have a rough go because he'd been so good.
Mm-hmm.
The other guys had they'd been bad and they continued to be bad.
Yes.
So, Kyle for me, this is sort of what I expect, but if you're going to hit behind Bryce, we need you to hit. Plain and simple.
We just need you to do something. Like, I get it, you don't hit home runs until June, but like, you got to do something.
It is crazy to me that, like, despite his struggles, he has still gotten on base 35 straight.
I know.
Games, 34 straight. That is wild.
Yes.
Because, like, typically, if you're struggling this much, you don't get on base by accident.
Yeah.
Like, he's still finding a way to get on base, even if it's once a game, which is important. We talk about getting on base, and they have a lot of traffic on the bases. That's how you score runs in this game. So yeah, he might go 0 for 4, have a lazy fly ball here and there, but he works a leadoff walk in one inning, and everybody feels good about that. If that's the one time he gets on base. So
right.
Yeah, I get it. He's been a little tough to watch, but is what it is. Who's my next?
Yep, my next guy. Jordan Romano.
Scapegoat.
I like it.
Scapegoat. I'm so tired of it, man. Like, the amount of text messages I got after that game that Jordan Romano sucks. Jordan Romano this, Jordan Romano that. People on Twitter, Jordan Romano's terrible. Trade Jordan Romano. Like, I get it. He has not been great to start the year. I get it. You all want Jeff Hoffman, and he's the guy who replaced Jeff Hoffman. So you're mad. But can we get to the real reason why the team lost that game? Like, can you just look past your ignorance for 5 minutes and understand why you lost the game. It wasn't because of Jordan Romano. It wasn't. It was because the offense was inept in a spot where you can't afford to be inept.
Mm-hmm.
Let's replay that scenario, shall we?
Please.
The Phillies in the top of the 10 load the bases, and Bryson Stott comes to the plate with 1 out. They've scored a run, but they've loaded the bases, so they're up 2-1 or 3-2, whatever it was, 3-2, I believe. And Bryson Stott, who has been great, so I'm even going to stay calm while I say this, flies out lazily to right field, not deep, and you're not going to test Juan Soto again. And then Trey, I forget what Trey did, not good, lined out, grounded. Oh, he grounded out. I believe 10 net in.
Which is all he's been doing, is
right
slamming balls.
I do have a little bit of an issue with Bryson Stott's at bat there.
Oh my God, absolutely.
Bryson Stott is the prototypical leadoff hitter, but he also needs to understand and learn that there are spots to come up there and approach differently.
Yes.
Bases loaded, 1 out. That dude is trying to get ahead of you. And he threw a cookie cutter, hanging, spinning slider. Belt high.
And just watch.
If you swing at that pitch, that's easily 1 run, if not 2 or 3. Maybe 4. With the way Bryson's swinging it. So I did take issue with that. Anyway, you don't score a run there in extra innings with the ghost runner rule. You're already in trouble.
Yep.
And I don't care who you are. You're a little more anxious than you would be with a 2-run lead. Especially when the guy on second base is Francisco Lindor.
Yeah.
Who is going to be on third at any point. Like, he's going to take third. So he gets Juan Soto on a weak ground ball to second base. Very weak ground ball. Soto is not great right now. So Lindor just walks himself over to third. Now, he gets ahead of Alonso 0-2. And people want him to spike the slider. You can't spike the slider. You can't. Because Lindor can score if that ball kicks even 5 feet away from JT. If it's a 2-run game, you can spike that slider 3 times because Lindor doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean anything. But you've got to throw that pitch relatively close. You got to make it at least enticing enough for Alonso to swing at it. And it was a good pitch. I know it was a strike.
Credit to Alonso, though. That's an unreal hit on that ball.
That's the best possible slider that you can throw for a strike.
Yeah.
And that's an ass out swing that he's strong enough to put it to where he put it.
Yeah.
And then, he blows away Vientos.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, is proving me very right.
Yes.
He's
it's one of the most satisfying things that's going on right now. Quite honestly.
It's unbelievable. And then they intentionally walk, what do you call it? Nimmo. They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they intentionally walked Nimmo so that they could face the righty and Marte. And he broke his bat. So I really needed someone to tell me what Romano did wrong. Romano did wrong. We can argue the pitch to Alonso. But if you have a 2-run lead, it's and you saw it tonight. He comes in with a 2-run lead against a good Cubs lineup.
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't touch him.
Yeah.
Strikeout, lazy fly ball to Kepler, ground ball back to Romano.
Hit hard.
Game over.
He knocked it down.
I mean, I'll take a ground ball back at the pitcher.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
I mean, to me, the inning where balls were hit hard were the Kirk inning. He continues to be the one. I'm more concerned about him right now than I am.
Yeah. Those balls on a warm day are.
Or at Citizens Bank, 7 rows deep.
Yeah. Those were
like,
barreled and somehow were
yeah.
outs.
So I think Romano's an easy scapegoat for, and it sucks. I'm anxious for, I'm watching him right now, and I'm seeing how good this stuff is.
And the Marlins game has colored like not serious fans. Like when you just look at it and be like, oh, we gave up 6 runs in an inning.
Oh yeah.
In an 11 to 4 game, your casual fans are going to key in on that. So
notice
much.
no one noticed. No one said anything about Matt Strahm struggling in a blowout yesterday.
Yeah.
No one said a word about Matt Strahm struggling in a blowout yesterday. It's so different when you are a high leverage guy to come into a game where it's a blowout. It's different. It's a different feel. And it happened to Strahm yesterday. No one said a word.
Yeah.
No one said boo. But God forbid Jordan Romano.
Only because he had been good the past few outings. And Romano was like, again, the one that everyone could key on.
Romano was good.
He had bounced back after his weird sort of start. And,
I really have a problem with it. I think, it's fine to blame. Like when he truly is the reason, blame him all you want.
Yeah.
But, there were plenty of other guys to get on. No one will ever blame Bryce Harper. No one will ever blame Bryson Stott. Like you said, casual fans are always going to go for the guy that seems the most obvious.
Yeah, I will.
I know. You're not a casual fan. And it just pissed me off that was like the first 5 text messages I got.
Yeah.
Romano stinks. He hasn't been good, but it's not his fault. Yeah. God almighty. All right. You get to talk positive.
Yeah.
Jesus Luzardo.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a little quicker because we're at an hour 20 already. So we're gonna.
A lot of talking.
That's right. We haven't seen each other in a while.
Jesus Luzardo.
Wonderful is my one word. I freaking love Jesus Luzardo.
Yeah.
I love this guy. I mean, I anticipated that I would, but I'm all in on like the goggles thing and like him turning into this psychopath when he gets out there. Because by all accounts, he's like a soft-spoken, but a guy who works, a guy who prepares, who is ready to pitch. But they're all like, he's a different dude when he puts his glasses on. And I freaking love it. I love it.
Good.
He's disgusting. He's intense. He, I think, is in a place where he's not in like baseball hell, pitching it to 1,100 people in that dumbass Miami stadium that they put together for no reason. Like, he has just been fantastic, and I love him. And I just, every day, I'm like, just keep it going, man. He's given himself like to this team, to this pitching staff, to this coaching group. He's just like, he came and he's like, I am just all in, and I freaking love it. And he's disgusting, and it's so much fun to watch him pitch. Is he the most efficient? No. Is he getting there? I think yes. Like, I think we're starting to see some much more efficient outings from him, and that gets me gassed up. Freaking love Jesus Luzardo.
Yeah, no notes. He's been fantastic.
All right, last one for you, Mr. Aaron Nola.
Bulldog.
Love it.
I'm gonna say it, man. Like, tough as hell. Dude comes out, battles his ass off in New York after giving up a couple of home runs, still gets through 6. Tonight, gets you through 7. Like, battles his butt off against a tough Chicago lineup. Really pitched well tonight. Everything was effective. The cutter is such a difference maker.
Yeah.
When that thing's working, it changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
He was fantastic tonight. And it was so good to see him bounce back. I don't know if his ERA, how much.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But hopefully it dropped a good bit. 7 innings, 1 run. Yeah, it took him down from 6.6 to 5.5. So,
Yep, it's
you know,
not nothing. That's not nothing.
couple more starts like that, and he'll find his way down. Romano's down to about 12. That's good.
Love it.
So yeah, just super happy for Aaron, and I think he pitched fine in New York too. I think he was overall pretty darn good, both starts, and his next start will be next weekend.
Yeah,
should be next weekend.
I think your
Against
point to how good
Arizona.
this Cubs team has been is all more a credit to him after some of the games he's had. Like,
Yeah.
he pitched phenomenally. And to be quite honest, when he walked that first guy in the 7th, I was like, uh-oh. Like, I was a little bit nervous, but came back and pitched well. And I think I'm hoping that this is like a big turning point for him, that like something clicked and he can just kind of reset and be like, all right, everything's all right. Like, we're okay. The first however many games didn't go my way. He's also not getting that much run support.
Yeah.
But I like you said, he was fantastic tonight. Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the entire team can take something from this series. You beat a really good team on the road 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
That Mets series came at a bad time.
I'd love
honestly,
to know how that Mets series go if that Marlins game is different.
Oh, I said the same thing. Not that I think they win the series.
No,
but I think
like,
yeah,
we're on the same page there.
Yeah, you lost 2 series on the road 2 weeks ago. Then you come home, split a series, win a series. Then you go on the road, get swept. Very easy, especially losing the first game, to tuck your tail. And they took 2 out of 3. Now they get to go home. They have a day off tomorrow. 3 against Washington, 3 against Arizona. Pretty good team coming in.
Yeah.
What are you hoping for? Is 4-2 enough here for you, or you want better this home series?
No, I'd love 4-2.
Yeah.
I'd be ecstatic with 4-2, quite honestly.
4-2 would be very ideal.
I think really good, especially considering like Arizona. That team is like playing well. And again, the demons like are still there for some reason.
Yeah, they can hit
with this team. So I think 4-2 would be fantastic.
Good news is you get Wheeler twice on the homestand.
Yeah,
so,
that's great.
That's fantastic news. You get Wheeler twice on the homestand. You get Wheeler Luzardo to start the Washington series. That's fantastic.
Yep.
Wheeler Luzardo, Walker. We probably see Ranger here soon.
Yeah.
We'll see what they do with Sanchi here coming around the corner.
Yeah. I mean, by all accounts, they seem to have avoided, knock on wood, the worst option with Sanchez.
Yeah.
They obviously are not, he's not making his next start. Ranger had had another good outing. I think from all reports, they're going to have him do one more to kind of get closer to 90 some pitches just to make sure he's ready to go. So
yeah. Sanchi would have been Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's not going to throw then until probably the weekend against Arizona. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's fine. As long as he's healthy. That's all that matters.
Yes.
And we'll see.
That's right.
Cold night. And they said everything was sore on him.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's all it is. All right, man. Well, hey, thanks. If you hung with us this long, we appreciate you. Make sure you give us a follow, subscribe button. If you're watching on YouTube, go to wherever you get your podcasts, follow there, and then jump over to your social media, Twitter at the Mic Drop 5, at Big Regz with a Z, Phixated Pod. Jump over onto Facebook at the Phixated fan page. TikTok is at the Phixated Pod, and Instagram, Phixated Podcast, where I posted our first video.
That's right.
Post more and see if we can build some followership there. So get on over there. Merch link in the show description. Oh, man. It was a fun one. Phils, thanks for salvaging the weekend. Good job. Love you. We'll talk to you guys this week. Probably do a little show towards the weekend here and back together. Until then, take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. We love you guys. And we'll see you later this week. Thanks, Howie. Thank you, Phils.
Thanks, everybody. Go Phils.
Oh my God. Deep to right field. Way up there and way out of here.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.